You see, brother, who is
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سعادة السيد صلاح بن غانم العلي وزير الثقافة والرياضة في دولة قطر. سعادة السيد خوليو بيبينو وزير الثقافة والتراث في جمهورية الإكوادور. نسعد اليوم بالاحتفاء معا بتدشين النسخة الإسبانية من كتاب مصيري أهوال الحرب وطموحات السلام، الكتاب الذي يستعرض المذكرات السياسية والتجربة الحياتية لسعادة السيدة أيفون عبد الباقي سفيرة جمهورية الإكوادور السابقة لدى دولة قطر وسفيرة جمهورية الإكوادور لدى الولايات المتحدة في واشنطن حالياً. نتشرف ببدء هذا الاحتفال بكلمة من سعادة وزير الثقافة والرياضة بدولة قطر سعادة السيد صلاح بن غانم العلي، فليتفضل مشكوراً.
أرحب فيكم صراحة وسعيد أكون بينكم أخواني أصحاب السعادة والسادة الأخوان والأخوات. حقيقة أنا سعيد جدا يعني أن أكون بينكم اليوم، وخاصة في هالمناسبة المميزة. يعني سعادة السفيرة يعني عرفناها أكيد كدبلوماسية محنكة، أكيد بكل تأكيد. عرفناها أيضا كمثقفة متميزة من خلال إنتاجاتها الأدبية، لكن في الحقيقة الأهم من هذا كله عرفناها كإنسانة. أنا شخصيا يعني كنت في فترة من فترات قريب منها جدا، وكان يعني نجتمع كثير سواء على المستوى الرسمي أو على المستوى الشخصي، ووجدت فيها إنسانة يعني متميزة حقيقة. يعني كانت دائما حضورها يعني يغير المود كامل في الاجتماعات، خاصة الدبلوماسية. شوي في المناسبات الدبلوماسية تكون يعني شوي الاجتماعات هذه تكون ثقيلة واللقاءات تكون ثقيلة، لكن هي عندها صراحة تميز في أنها يعني تضعنا كلنا في حالة من الطاقة الإيجابية. ابتسامتها، أحاديثها، قصصها كانت دائما ملهمة بالنسبة لنا. بصداقتها، واكبر دليل انه يعني كثير من السفراء نتعرف عليهم ويرحلون في هذه الحياه، لكن السفيره تركت بصمه وما زلنا الى الان واحنا اصدقاء واخوان ونتواصل دائما. اليوم مناسبه مميزه، ترجمه كتابها الى اللغه الانجليزيه والاسبانيه. طبعا هذا راح يعطي مؤشر لاي انسان يقراه ان هي فعلا بالاضافه الى كونها انسانه مميزه ودبلوماسيه مميزه، لكن أيضاً مثقفة من الدرجة الأولى. أتمنى لها كل التوفيق، ونتمنى إن شاء الله نلتقي قريب. ومثل ما وعدتني سعادة السفيرة إن شاء الله أنها بتوقع لي نسختين، الإسباني والإنجليزي، وترسل لي إياهم موقعة. أتمنى يعني يكون هذا الشيء.
اليوم راح وكالة اثنيناتهم. شكراً.
ألف 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 شكر لكم على إتاحة الفرصة هذه لي.
شكرا كثير صالح.
شكرا سعادة الوزير. إذا سمحتوا لنا Mr. Marco, if you have a little translation in Spanish for the minister, please.
Gracias, muchísimas gracias. Sí. Señor Ministro de Cultura y Deportes, Su Excelencia Salah bin Ghanem Al-Ali, señores representantes del Fórum Qatar de Autores, señor periodista Ibrahim Badawi, queridísima embajadora Ivonne Baki, señoras y señores, no es tarea fácil encontrar palabras que logren describir lo que provoca la lectura del libro Mi destino, los horrores de la guerra y las aspiraciones de paz, de nuestra querida amiga Ivonne Baki. Ivonne enfrenta uno de los desafíos más grandes de la literatura, que es escribir una verdadera historia de vida, de su vida, de la mano del periodista Ibrahim Badawi. Con lenguaje agradable y una estructura narrativa innovadora, plantea una historia que permite familiarizarse con ella, envuelve al lector y nos hace partícipes, casi como un testigo vivo de la trama. El relato presenta la vida de una mujer única, multifacética, siempre al límite, en actitud desafiante, pero con un solo objetivo: construir un mundo de paz. Con la fortaleza de una madre que en medio de diversos conflictos armados vio peligrar la vida de sus hijos, Ivonne enfrentó la estruendosa pregunta: «Mamá, ¿vamos a morir?», y la respondió con entereza: no, mi amor, vamos a estar bien. Desde ahí se entiende su compromiso íntimo y ético por defender la vida, por la paz, en un contexto de una guerra atroz que se desata en la puerta de su casa. El texto deja entrever características de la cultura de Oriente y confronta, tal como lo hace el filósofo Edward Said, la imposición de un conjunto de representaciones popularizados por los medios de comunicación occidentales que han homogeneizado las particularidades culturales de Oriente bajo la palabra orientalismo. Pero la guerra debe ser confrontada y la paz debe ser construida. Para lograrlo, Yvonne encuentra en las artes el espacio ideal para su acción social y política. Entiende la música como una metáfora de la paz, en donde el director de orquesta es un mediador que soluciona conflictos. Y en sus propias palabras, cito: la patria es como una orquesta musical que necesita la armonía de los músicos, fin de la cita. Aun cuando las disonancias también formen parte de la vida y de la música. Sin embargo, la guerra no da tregua. Nuestra autora construye en el transcurso de su vida una estrategia de resistencia psicológica y denuncia simbólica que confluyen en el ballet, en las artes plásticas y en la música clásica, a tal punto que la denuncia social de su pintura también puso en riesgo su vida. Y cómo no, si en medio de las contingencias enfrentadas, una de ellas la encontró con Salvador Dalí, dando lugar así a una bellísima política del arte por la vida. La lucha por la paz no se agota, vibra y late en cada página del libro e interviene en cada capítulo de su vida. Como resultado de su incansable trabajo y vasta experiencia, intervino directamente en el proceso de negociación de la paz en el conflicto limítrofe entre Ecuador y Perú, poniendo en acción su capacidad y los conocimientos adquiridos con el insuperable Roger Fisher, académico de Harvard, experto en manejo de conflictos. Entonces se dio final al último y más grande conflicto bélico de la región, con la firma de la paz en el gobierno del presidente Jamil Mahuad. Yvonne Bacchi plantea profundas preguntas en torno a las paradojas de la política, desde cada uno de los espacios de representación que ha ejercido o de sus experiencias, sea como embajadora de Ecuador en Estados Unidos, ministra de Comercio Exterior, Industrialización, Pesca y Productividad, presidenta del Parlamento Andino, o por haber sido la primera mujer en nominarse a las elecciones presidenciales de nuestro país. Desde Guayaquil hasta Beirut, pasando por Washington, Doha, París, Montecristi y una infinidad de lugares, el relato es un aporte fundamental sobre el papel de la cultura y la necesidad de construir puentes y diálogos entre las diversas culturas del planeta. Entender, por ejemplo, cómo el dialecto, en tanto que identificador cultural, puede ser una condena de muerte. Sí, sí, en contextos donde la pronunciación llega a definir un asesinato inmediato. Yvonne da cuenta de la relevancia del idioma como constructor y organizador del mundo. Será tal vez por aquello que Yvonne habla tantas lenguas. Su prístina preocupación por el tema cultural le permite plantear con solvencia la influyente intervención de la cultura árabe en el Ecuador y en el continente, en todos los órdenes de la vida social, en lo político, en lo económico, en el arte, la literatura, los deportes, la música, la arquitectura, el idioma en sí mismo y en los estilos de vida en general. Un tema que va cobrando presencia en el transcurso del relato y que al final trata directamente, sabia decisión para la estructura narrativa, es el concepto de ser mujer. Yvonne Bacchi expone la necesidad de trascender el sentido de la mujer de hierro y habla más bien de la mujer inteligente, en tanto ser consciente de su sensibilidad y su capacidad. Ella recuerda las palabras de su padre y de su esposo. Cito: la mujer puede, con su mano izquierda, mecer la cuna de su hijo para que duerma, mientras con la derecha puede sacudir al mundo. Cierro cita. Y eso define su accionar, que a partir de su condición femenina la convirtió en una mujer de energía y generosidad sin límites. El libro es una fuente interminable de anécdotas llenas de emoción, en donde cada una de ellas puede leerse como una película de acción. El accidente de tránsito que le permitió conocer al amor de su vida, o pilotear un avión para fumigar plantaciones de banano en la costa ecuatoriana, el primer cine de Quevedo, manejar la crisis de un derrame de petróleo desde el avión de Donald Trump, defender a niños en medio de la guerra, enfrentar la amenaza de la corrupción en carne propia, luchar contra el complot político en la candidatura a la dirección general de la UNESCO allá en el año 2009, plantear el malestar por la venta anticipada del petróleo a China, un legado horroroso en nuestro país, una larga conversación igual con Julián Assange y el mechón de cabello del presidente Reagan. Y cómo no mencionar cuando Su Alteza, el emir de Qatar, le manifestó a nuestro presidente, el licenciado Lenín Moreno Garcés, comillas, he oído decir que vuestra excelencia canta muy bien, cierro comillas, mientras compartían la mesa, y nuestro presidente efectivamente cantó como muy bien lo sabe hacer. Cálida escena de la política mundial, que por supuesto fue el resultado de la recomendación que la autora hiciera a Su Alteza. Sin duda alguna, querida Ivonne, tu obra, Mi destino, los horrores de la guerra y las aspiraciones de paz, permite entender muchos capítulos de la historia de nuestro país y del mundo, narradas en paralelo. Logras mantener despierta la atención y generas tensión. Por mi propia experiencia, confirmo que una vez iniciada la lectura, es casi imposible interrumpirla hasta el final. Solo un reclamo tengo respecto de tu libro, Ivonne, y es que concluye muy pronto. Nos dejas con el deseo de conocer más, y por esto quiero pedirte que emprendas la investigación a la que haces referencia, en torno al papel de la mujer en Oriente. Me disculpo si dejo de mencionar otros temas, acaso más importantes, pero estoy seguro de que se presentarán muchas oportunidades para hacerlo, en otros foros y círculos. Mi destino, los horrores de la guerra y las aspiraciones de paz, nadie quedará impasible después de leerla. Felicitaciones, Ivonne querida, y muchas gracias por tu invitación.
Gracias. Thank you, sir. Gracias. المعذرة طبعا الترجمة كانت ظروفها صعبة في حالة النقل. نشكرك سعادة الوزير. Thank you.
But I heard my name twice, by the way, so good things.
إن شاء الله احنا بنرسل الترجمة. بس أيضا إذا تحبين أن تتعلقين قبل لا نبدأ ننتقل مع الأستاذة شيخة.
بس بدي أشكر أول شيء بدي أشكر سعادة الوزير بالفعل بكلامك الرهيبين، ورح نبعث لهم الترجمة بالإنجليزي اللي حكاه الوزير الإكوادور. نقراها كمان بالإنجليزي، بس رح نبعث لكم إياها حتى يكون عندكم إياها. Julito, mi querido, gracias por tus palabras, gracias por leer el libro y por poner tantas cosas, verdaderamente me emocionaste muchísimo. Te agradezco un millón. Gracias
gracias
de todo corazón.
سعادة الوزير أيضا أرجو بلاغا أن احنا سنقوم بإرسال كلمة سعادة الوزير أيضا لك بإذن الله باللغة الإنجليزية. الآن ننتقل إلى الأستاذة شيخة غانم التبيسي التي ستقوم الآن بالانتقال معكم للإعلان الجلسة وتهانينا لسعادة السفيرة أيضا عبد الباقي والمزيد من الإنجازات والإبداعات الثقافية. تفضل أستاذة شيخة.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Sheikh Al-Kibaisi. I'm glad to join this valuable event. Let's now start the discussion session with Her Excellency Ms. Yvonne Abdelbaqi, Ecuador's former ambassador to Qatar and current ambassador to the United States, in dialogue with Mr. Ibrahim Badawi, the writer of the book My Destiny. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sheikha. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank all the organizers, Qatar Ministry of Culture, Qatari Forum for Authors, and of course, a big thank you to our distinguished guests. I'm gonna to introduce myself briefly because I think Mrs. Yvonne is a star, but I am people don't know me that much. So my name is Ibrahim Badawi. It's been a great privilege, of course, to be the writer of the biography of dearest ambassador ever, Mrs. Yvonne Baki. I'm Egyptian, based and work in my second homeland, Qatar, since 2012. Currently, I'm a senior editor in Raya, a leading domestic newspaper in Doha, covering diplomatic and international affairs, and that is how I get to know Mrs. Yvonne. I am a contributing reporter with Agence France Presse AFP as well here in Doha office. Previously, a contributing reporter with the New York Times, covered Egypt's revolution and war in Libya, where I entered for the first time in my life a war zone in Libya. And I experienced the horrors of wars, but definitely, and by the way, I was about to be kidnapped one day before my colleague from the New York Times, 4 photographers and journalists were kidnapped, but I left one day before to Cairo. So I was lucky. Of course, I didn't experience that much horrors like Mrs. Yvonne in the civil war of Lebanon. She experienced a lot of horrible things that we mentioned already in the book. And it was a surprise for me that she went from a victim of war in Lebanon to a peacemaker from the Middle East to the Latin America, between her beloved country, Ecuador, and the neighboring Peru. We spend long days, long hours of listening sessions, drafts, editing, tiring but joyful. I enjoyed every moment, by the way, doing this book with her. But the biggest coincidence was that we received the first copy of the book in Arabic on an exceptional, remarkable day for peace on February 29 last year, when the US and the Taliban Afghanistan signed a historical peace agreement in Doha. For me, it was a clear sign that peace is still her destiny. Please allow me to start our conversation today with a special one. I always say that, the one of a kind who spreads a positive energy everywhere to everyone, literally everywhere, to everyone, Ambassador of Ecuador to the US, Yvonne Baki. Good evening, Ambassador Baki. Long time no see. You are really missed here in Doha. Please tell us more about your biography, the title itself, My Destiny, Horrors of War and Aspirations for Peace. How the idea sparkled in your mind and how was it developed?
Ibrahim, thank you very much for your words, and I miss you all more, really. I miss very much Qatar. How this started, you know, I never wanted to write a book. This is the reality. But my life was, in a way, I was doing a book through what I was doing. So I never wanted just to be put in writing, but I was doing it. At the beginning, through the arts, through painting, I was painting for peace. And then the war in Lebanon started. As you know, I was born in Ecuador. Ecuador is a very Pacific country. I don't remember anything except beautiful nature, the smell of the bananas plantations of my father, the beautiful roses that you know from Ecuador, all the wonderful things and the animals, the music. So everything is so Pacific, and the people are very Pacific. And I go to another country, Lebanon, who at that time when I arrived, was gorgeous, was beautiful. I wouldn't have changed Lebanon for anything, because it was the place, a symbol to the world. It's a symbol of unity, of 17 different religions living together. And I couldn't understand all of a sudden this crazy war, this civil war that started, and hatred started to be among the people. And my husband was in politics, and I couldn't understand what was happening. So I did, at that time, women were not involved very much in issues of politics. So I started painting and doing through the arts what I couldn't say in words. And I was using women as a symbol for peace and love, unconditional love, and the horses as a symbol of freedom. For me, these were the two things. That's why I relate so much with my friend, the actress Paul Derek, that is accompanying me, because she adores horses. And it was something that that I will do it not to show it, not of it also to exhibit it. So I didn't want it to exhibit, and then things changed, and we had to leave Lebanon with my children after 18 years of war. I lived there all through the war, and then I went to the States, and my life completely changed when I came here, because at that time here I felt it is the only place that nobody asked my religion, for where I came from, my classes, education, or anything. It's a place where I felt home. In Ecuador, when I went back, they would see me as also a foreigner. In Lebanon, also a foreigner. Here, I was not. So I felt at home, really. And my sons went, my eldest son, Mohammed, went to Princeton University. Faisal, my second son, went to Harvard. And Tatiana was still very young. And in Lebanon, you know, French, it's a language with Arabic. So she was in the French school in Lebanon. And she entered the Lycée Français here in Washington, D.C. I was here. And I started painting here too. And they invited me to be the artist in residence at Harvard University, where my son was studying. And as we were mentioning, Julio was mentioning, Professor Roger Fisher was my mentor. And my dream was to make peace in the Middle East. It was not to make peace between Ecuador and Peru. My dream was I want to study politics while I'll be an artist. And I want to be at the Kennedy School of Government, but I was doing my major in negotiations, international negotiations for peace with Professor Fisher. And that was the work that we're doing. And in 1995, there was a war between Ecuador and Peru. And the president of Ecuador at that time, Sixto Durán Ballén, calls me. I was at home with Professor Fisher and all the group of the conflict management group. He was telling us that he needs Professor Fisher with the group to go to Ecuador to save this war. It was a war of over a century and a half, almost 200 years war. And at that time, Professor Fisher was at my home. No coincidence, it's a cause. He was there with the whole group of the conflict management. To make the story short, after 1 week, we were in Ecuador. And we created the groups of Ecuadorians and Peruvians to come back to Harvard to negotiate peace. We chose, Roger Fisher chose this too. And after that, it took 3 years and we made peace between the two countries. And my life changed. I was no more an artist. I was appointed ambassador to the United States 22 years ago. So imagine how I'm coming back again here. So my story is a book. So to make the answer, it's Qatar inspired me. And inspired me because it's a peaceful country, surrounded with a lot of problems. The crisis was at that time there when I arrived. And I felt that everybody wanted peace. And that anything you were doing in education, whatever you had transformed in Qatar, it was the moment to write something. But the idea was to write something about my stay in Qatar. But then the problem,
think big.
And how it came is that Rasha, my assistant, who is Egyptian at that time in Qatar, she said, "Why don't you write a book?" And I said, "I don't have time. There is no time to write." And she said, "I will bring you a very famous journalist, Ibrahim Badawi. He can record the things." And that's how it all started. So here we are, thanks to you, Ibrahim.
Great job, Mr.
Yes.
The culture of Qatar that pushed me and motivated me to do it. And that's what we have done now. First, the Arabic version, and now the Spanish and the...
And that is what I was about to ask you, Your Excellency, about writing the book and being a diplomat and an ambassador, and as an authentic and straightforward person. When did you feel that your position as a diplomat may have an influence on your views or pushed you to make kind of compromises while writing?
كانت تسمحي لي مثل ايفون لو تكرمتي، انا اسفه قاطعت سعادة الوزير لأن عنده ارتباطات، ولكن هو إكراما لك يعني حدد هذا الوقت خصصه لك، على هذا السبب اقتطعنا هذا الوقت، ولذلك هو لازم يكمل الأعمال اللي عنده. فإذا سمحتي لنا أنه بيغادر، ونشكرك ونشكر سعادة الوزير على تخصيصه لحضور هذا الأمسية معنا هذه الليلة.
شكرا.
يا سعادة السفيرة, Your Excellency and Your Excellencies, Your Excellency, you know our culture. In Ramadan at night, we work even harder. So I have a few meetings waiting at 8:30. So I'm very, very glad and happy to join you all on this occasion, and hopefully to see you soon.
Absolutely. And Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem. Thank you very much.
Ramadan Kareem.
شكرا سعادة
السلام
الوزير.
عليكم.
مع
عليكم
السلامة.
السلام. So
لسعادة السفير.
Can you repeat it again? So
yeah, I mean, when did your position as a diplomat have an influence on your views or pushed you in order to make kind of balances or compromises while writing?
Well, you know, I'm a very straightforward person. I mean, I don't think I'm a good diplomat. I don't know. Maybe I say the things not politically correct sometimes when I feel that, but it's the way you say it. I always say, and it's true, you know, you can tell somebody to go to hell in such a way that he or she will be looking forward for the trip. So it's all about how you say it. And I think this is what diplomacy is good. This diplomacy is that, you know, that it's dialogue. It's about getting to make difficult choices and making difficult problems, solve difficult problems, but in a diplomatic way with dialogue, with understanding. And this helped me a lot. So as an artist, I think also it's a plus, because art opens your right and left sides of the brain. Usually they say that the left is more the pragmatic, the numbers, and the right is the spiritual, the creativity, and all the things that you can think outside the box. So I think by joining those two, it's very positive in order to be able to implement things diplomatically with results. Because I'm not a person that likes to take time to get things done. If they tell me this is going to take a year, for me it's too much. So I like to do things that you can get results immediately to be seen. And sometimes in diplomacy, they go too much in the comma where it should be, and you know, things that take a lot of time and bureaucracy.
Wasting time.
The bureaucratic things are good, but in the moment that we're living in this world, everything has to be done quickly. Look at this pandemic. If we don't do the things very quickly, we cannot wait because the patient will die. And this is happening in so many ways now, especially in the world that we're living. So I think diplomacy should change a little bit, should continue being of dialogue and positiveness, but at the same time, doing things. Not just studying and being so much bureaucratic. So this is my way of life, and I think it helped a lot.
The book begins with concern or oppositions of war and peace from Doha. You remember when we wrote it in a way while you are attending orchestra Qatar in Qatar, and started to recall some memories about war and peace. Was Qatar an inspiration? You already said so. But do you think that it's a matter just because of Qatar has a lot of safety, peaceful atmosphere? Is it just for wealth or something else, this safety?
You know, Qatar inspired me a lot because I saw a place of humbleness. I saw His Highness the Amir, Sheikh Tamim, His Highness the Father Amir, Sheikh Hamad, Her Highness Sheikh Hamoza, all the family, the loving and the caring of the people for them, it's because of the humbleness and a peaceful country, surrounded with problems. They are trying to solve them, to solve the problems of the other countries. And something important that happened in Qatar that I thought it was what inspired me the most was the importance they give to culture, to education. Qatar Foundation, what they have done is just amazing. It's a city of education, of culture, of technology, of futuristic way of seeing things. In a small country like Qatar, to have that example, it's an inspiration to anyone, not just for me, for anyone. And I remember being with the other ambassadors there, and they all really joined in the same way that Qatar should be like a case study in a way of what they have done in such a short period of time, to have this kind of freedom, but yet with values, with ethics, having the both sides, not opening completely, but gradually in a way that will be stable for the freedom that they are getting. I always put the example of communism when it was before and how it was changed completely. All of a sudden, it's like a bird that was closed and then they open and they say, you have freedom, you can do whatever you want. You get lost. And then corruption happens and all the things. In Qatar, they don't have that because they do it accordingly and respecting the values, respecting the ways the people would like to continue doing things, and at the same time having others to be free to do other things.
Yes,
so
and
I really was inspired for the book there.
And by the way, I think that the presence and role of women in Qatar was one of the factors that caught your attention. Is that right?
What is it?
The presence of women in Qatar and their role was one of the factors that caught your attention.
Absolutely. The percentage of women, I remember I used to go
presence.
The
presence. Presence of women.
The presence.
Role.
The presence of women. Oh yes, that's what I'm saying. The presence of women. They are in the business community. They are CEOs. They are everywhere and they are brilliant and they have very high positions. But at the same time, in education, I used to go to the graduations and the school of the university graduation or the high school graduation, and the majority were women. And those that were with the highest honors, all of them were women. I mean, you have men and women, but women were the ones. And so I felt that they had this empowerment because thanks to Sheikh Hamoza, Sheikh Hahim, Sheikh Mayasa, the daughters, that they inspired them to be able to get into anything they want. And I think that's something that other countries should follow. Really, in the way the Qatari woman feels very secure, and they don't want to be men. They want to continue being feminine. This is very important for women to understand that us as women, if we want to get, and we have the obligation to be in all kinds of walks of life to make a better world, not only the social area, but also in the political arena, in the economic arena, in the technological arena, in the private sector, public sector, we have the obligation for our future generations and present generations. And I felt that in Qatar, the woman owns her femininity with her strength, because it's a strength. Being a woman is stronger than being a man. You have to have a lot of security and a lot of self-trust. And I saw that in all of you. Look at this woman that are with us today. I mean,
Your Excellency, you already had an experience in the peace process between Ecuador and Peru. In your opinion, what is the importance of women at the table of peace negotiations?
That's a very important question, Ibrahim. And we spoke about that many times. When we did the negotiations between Ecuador and Peru, I was the only woman. And even one woman can make a difference. But of course, I would have been happier and it would have been quicker if we had 50-50 or even more than just one. I've had a boy come with me to the Middle East in many ways. We went to Egypt together to find the peace in the Middle East for the Arabs. She accompanied because she believes in that too. And if we had more women, it would be a different position. What is the difference when we have women? Women see things in a way of finding a solution, the win-win, which is give up and give up. You have to lose and lose. The position of men is always, I have this and I will not move. This is my position. I don't move. The woman comes and says, okay, what is your priority? Why do you want it? Why do you want peace? Because the priorities are different. This is the story I tell there in the book also of Professor Fisher. When he was giving us the classes, he will say the story of a couple, a man and a woman, that both worked. So they have to go, each one, and leave the two kids. They had two boys at home. So that was the turn of the woman to go, and she left the two boys with him alone because they didn't have any other help. So she went and she came back and she saw a mess. They were fighting and killing each other, the two boys, and the husband was saying, go and take your children. I don't want to know anything about it. What's the problem? She said, well, they wanted to have an orange. And I have only one orange. There was only one orange at home. So I cut it in half and I gave half to one and half to the other. And they started fighting more. They want all the orange, both of them. So I couldn't find a solution. So this is what I did. So let them fight. So the woman came to one of her sons and said, why did you want a whole orange? And he said, because I want to have a glass of juice, and half, it's not enough for one glass. And the other one, why do you want the orange? He said, because I want to peel, to make a cake. You told me that I have to hold the whole peeling of this to do the cake. So what she did is she peeled the both. She gave all the peel to one and all the orange to the other. So both were happy. So the priorities are there, but we have to ask. That's the dialogue. Woman asks. They always try to find how to find a solution that both will be half happy, maybe not 100%, but this is the way to it of a win-win.
What was the most horrible moment you will never forget from the war in Lebanon?
Oh my God. There were so many different moments.
The one with your kids.
Yeah, that was when my husband is a very believer. I mean, he believes, he has faith, he believes in faith. And he wouldn't move. We lived in the last 2 floors of a building, very high building. And of course, there was no electricity for many years, no water. So there was no elevator, there was nothing. And we staying up, and the bombing was terrible. All the years we had the house bombarded, I don't know if it's 7, 8 times. But we never went to the basement or the shelter, because he doesn't believe that wherever you are, you will die. Your time comes, you will die. So he wouldn't leave. In 1981 or 82, when it was the invasion of Israel, it was the Syrians in Lebanon, the earth, from the air, from the water, it was from all places. And the bombing was so bad that we couldn't. There was no way we could stay in this corridor that was part of home that was most protected. So I said, Sammy, we have to go down. So he said, okay. But it was too late, because when we were starting to go on the stairs, it was the 10th floor to go back to the basement. The bombing was so hard in the opening part of the stairway that we have to stand in the wall in one line. The 7 of us. I had my 3 children, Sammy, and the 2 girls that I had from Ecuador, the help that I had from Ecuador. So we were standing in one line, and my daughter, she was maybe 3 years or 4 years, like, yeah, I don't know. And she looked at me and she said, Mommy, are we going to die? That's what Julio mentioned that. And I said, no, Tatiana, we're not going to die. Don't worry, we'll make it. We stood there and we went down, but guess what? This was terrible, but when we went down, the people that were in the shelter, a bomb came inside. Mm-hmm. So we saw them, the majority were injured, many with death. So anyway.
It was horrible, of course. But you yourself, I will switch you to another positive situation. When you ran for presidency in 2000, what's your explanation for the success of many Arabs in Latin American countries, including Ecuador?
I think the Arabs, they feel they are very intelligent, very amazing people, but they are individualistic. So in their own countries, like Lebanon, I give the example of Lebanon, everybody wants to be president of Lebanon. So they have this, they have a lot of motivation, but they don't like to be soldiers. So they want to be, and you cannot have everybody be. So there is always this conflict. And when they travel, their brilliance and their intelligence, they put them in very important positions. So they shine and they respect the laws, and they start to know how to work in teamwork. And they start from down up, so it's a different way, but they arrive always because of their intelligence. So I think it's not only in Latin America. They went to Africa, they went to North America, wherever they go, the Lebanese and the Arabs in general always they get very high positions.
Mm-hmm. You already met the most wanted journalist, not me, Julian Assange. Tell us more about this meeting.
No, that time I was representing the Yasuni project. It's the Amazon project to protect the Amazon. And Bo was helping me in that to protect, because she believes in the environment also for the Galapagos Islands. And at that time, we were doing it for the Amazon. And I had to go to London because National Geographic was doing an event for the Yasuni, a beautiful place they have in front of the Embassy of Ecuador in London, which is next to Harrods, the Embassy of Ecuador, and in front is National Geographic. So at that time, the ambassador of Ecuador was a woman, Ana Alban, And we were going to the opening and all this, and she told me, well, you have to come to the embassy. Julian Assange is there. He would like to meet you, even if it's for a little while. And I said, no, I don't want to meet him. Let's go to this, and I don't want to meet him. She said, come on, just say hello. He would like to come. So I went. I thought I was going to stay for 15 minutes. I stayed for 3 hours having a conversation with him. He is very bright and intelligent, and he knows about the Middle East, everything. I mean, we spoke all about the Middle East, all the things that he believes it should be done. And so that's why I was very interested to speak with him. I don't agree with many things with him, but it was interesting.
I think our book has a lot of a variety of situations like funny, drama, action, romantic stories, you know. So I'd like to ask Mrs. Buderick, who is a famous celebrity, if we can switch or turn this story into a movie. You're already a friend of Mrs. Yvonne, and you know a lot about her life. Do you think that we can turn such book into a story?
Yes, especially, you know, the time is perfect because there's a shortage of entertaining, inspiring stories about historical true women. And I know that Hollywood is in a mad rush because they're very popular and very successful right now. So yes, I have every faith that this will be received very well.
And she would blame me.
No.
She would blame me. When we first met, the first moment they took a picture of us and we looked like sisters. And my sister would agree with that. So she would blame me.
Hopefully we can do it. Hopefully we will make it. So my last question would be, what is the most prominent message in the book from your point of view, or that you wanted to convey, whether to governments, young people, and especially women?
Well, first to government, to listen more to what the people want, not to forget that when they arrive to be in government, they promise to do, especially presidents, they promise to do everything, and they are humble in a way, and they give all this amazing proposals and projects and programs of the government. And once they get to the position, they surround themselves with the people that only tell them what he or she wants to hear. So they don't do what they want. They start with the ego. It goes to their heads. The ego goes to the head. So mostly men. I think women are less, but it doesn't mean that they don't. But I will tell them, don't forget why you were chosen, to serve, not to be served. This is one of the things I will tell governments, that when you go to a government, you have to have, like doctors, it's to help people save their lives. The same in politics, you have to have passion for what you do in order to be able to arrive to a position in the public sector. And for the girls, the boys, the young generation, it's the most amazing moment for all of you. You have the best thing that you have now, it's technology, that you can use it for wisdom, for knowledge, for anything that you want. But don't ever forget that the most important thing is to be authentic, to be humble, to be real, to optimistic, think positive always opens doors. And the most important thing, to work together as a team, and to never forget that everything is temporary. Temporary. Look, the pandemic, what taught us. We never thought we would have this. It's not about accumulating wealth. It's about enjoying and sharing what you have. Everything that you don't share is lost. If you have knowledge and you don't share it, you are not taking it with you. If you have money and you don't share it, you are not taking it with you. And we have realized all this in this pandemic more. I saw the importance of peace because I lived the most horrible war in Lebanon. Now we know the importance of health because we lived this pandemic. So this is what this message. Enjoy it. You have the best time in your life, and the future has no limits now, even to the space now.
I totally agree with you, Your Excellency, especially that sharing is happiness is sharing. And before switching to my colleague, Sheikha, I wanted to show you, I don't know if it's... the
picture of the Afghanistan conference.
That is when we received the first copy of the book during the the agreement of peace between the US and the Taliban. So peace is your destiny, definitely.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
Sheikha, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you both for this like insightful talk. I have learned a lot from like the points that were like mentioned. Now, like in the remaining minutes, we would like to open the floor for question. If you have, if like the audience have any question, please just like raise your hand. There's a feature in Zoom itself where you can press reaction and then raise your hand, and we can take a question from there. So yeah. Is there any question for Ms. Yvonne, for Ibrahim, or anyone else?
Badr. I think Badr wants to ask.
I actually have like one question, like in terms of like you choosing to write the book, what was your like ultimate goal? Is it to spread awareness of the horror of wars, or is it like a way to tell your story with a message?
You know, Sheikh, from when I started, I didn't think about that. That's why I didn't want to write a book. I thought that you do things. I like to deal always by example. I don't take my children, do that. Example, what I do in my life, I would like them to see it. You cannot impose something. You cannot give advice because the young person, they will not take it. They have to pass their own experiences. But maybe the book will be a format of experiences that I had, and everyone will take what they think is good. But I'm not nobody to give advice to anyone. I think all of you have an amazing, brilliant future, and you know better than us. I learn more from my children now, and my grandkids, they teach me more than what I know. So yeah, it's just to see it as an example of how to live different when you pass through difficulties like wars or pandemics or problems. And the most difficult thing is to be yourself, you know. So I never tried to be something I was not. And this is the message. To live happy, you have to live the moment. And never be, I'm here with you now, I'm here with you now. I'm not thinking what's going to happen in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or what happened yesterday and it's bothering me. So if you do that as a daily life, as a part of your life, it's an education. And it's connecting with God, connecting with the moment is God. I mean, everything we have, who knows what's going to happen in the future? The past is gone, so it's now. So that's why when you do that, it will be different, the way you see things. Yeah. And you enjoy life better. So maybe this is the message, you know.
I totally agree with this point. Mr. Badr, do you have any question? I saw that you opened the mic.
Yes. First of all, good evening to everybody. I think this is an excellent occasion to meet with Ambassador Yvonne Baghi. She's an old friend since, I will not tell you how many years, so I don't expose how old I am. We missed her a lot here in Doha. We were colleagues when I represented the state of Qatar in Washington, and that is where we became a friend, and we had a lot of things in common. I also paint. We talk about issues that relate to our part of the world here in the Middle East. But there are things that makes Yvonne Baghi an extraordinary person. Wherever she goes, in any meeting and any social gathering, she's a lady full of positive energy. And even if there are others who have negative energy in the place, her positive energy overshadows us and she takes over. Secondly, she has a style that I rarely saw in individuals, and that is making the impossible reachable. She can make things happen with her own style, with her own positiveness of doing things. She is far away from us geographically, but she's really close. I'm talking about me and my family, very close to her and to her family, to her sons and daughter. We always miss her. We always remember her. I remember when we have dinners in her house or in my house here in Doha. Also, I have a lot of stories with Yvonne most of it is positive, most of it is good, and maybe we don't have enough time to talk about some of these stories, but she's an extraordinary lady, really. That's what I want to say. And wherever she goes, she is successful because she is beautiful from inside and outside. And she always thinks outside the box. I think not only her thinking, she is outside the box. It's not only her thoughts. I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you, Badr. Thank you for the amazing words. And you know how much I love you and Awatif and the children, your
thank you.
And your son so much, and my family. Do you know where we met the first time?
No, I don't remember really.
Here, where I'm sitting now.
Yes. And yes.
Washington in 1998.
Yes.
You came here afterwards or after me, right?
Yes, I came after you. I came 2000, yes.
Yeah, so the year 2000, you came to visit me, and
right.
We sat here, and you told me I am the new ambassador of Qatar, but I'm also the non-resident ambassador of Qatar to Ecuador.
That's right. Yes.
And by the way, he was 18 years old, just 18 years.
Right. And he was too, right? These are the friendship. It's thanks to Badr al-Dafa that I loved Qatar. From the moment he came, first of all, he came to Ecuador several times. He came for the inauguration of the president at that time. And then he took me, you invited me to Qatar when I was ambassador here. And then when I was minister, when I was running for president, he helped me a lot for my campaign for president. But he made me know Qatar from that time when you had nothing. It was only the Sheraton Hotel when I went the first time. And I've seen all this through the eyes of Badr. And then Sheikh Faisal also, you presented me to Sheikh Faisal at the time, and Tatiana was with me. And there was only Qatar, the mall of, what's the name of the mall? Qatar
City Center.
City Center. That was the only city center and the Sheraton Hotel. So yes, it's thanks to Badr that we have an embassy there, and Ecuador has an embassy in Qatar, and really it's a family kind of.
Well, I think everybody misses you here, Yvonne. Honestly, everybody misses you. I hope you, when this COVID business comes down, you will come and visit us with Bo Derek, who also missed very much. And I hope when I come to America, I will have the chance to see your horses, because I've seen some photos. I really love to see your horses.
You're most welcome.
You love
Qatar.
Yeah, my first experience, the first time I visited, I think was 1997. I came to a marathon desert race, horse race. And
yes.
Yes, and then I came at the end of 2019 when Yvonne had a great birthday week celebration
for her birthday,
not just one day.
Okay.
And I was so impressed with the growth and there's a spirit of happiness and energy that I was very impressed with.
Come again. We'd love to see you here again, Bo.
Thank you.
This is a nice meeting. Thank you so much for all this. Really, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Connected and come over to visit us in Washington also. And
I will.
We'll go for the World Cup. Invite us for the World Cup 2022.
For sure. You'll have your tickets ready here for sure.
Okay, we're going. Send the plane. Everybody wants to go. Send the Qatar Airways. It's a direct flight, so we can have a charter.
With a pleasure, really.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you.
We have one question from Hamoud Abeid, if you want to take the floor.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Hamoud Abeid. I had the honor, actually, of translating the book into English. And my question actually relates to, I'm going to ask Ambassador Yvonne to maybe write more, because the book, it focuses on the lessons of life that you have accumulated through the years. But I also see it as a good source of documentary information. And as I was reading through it, I wanted to know more, for example, about the personalities that you met, but there was no room, for example, for you to describe For example, how Yasser Arafat was in person, or George Bush, the father, was in person. You met all these people, and it would be a great source of documentary information to write more about your personal experiences with them.
And you know, you're right about the documentary. It will be a good documentary. And how we met with Yasser Arafat, it was when we did peace between Ecuador and Peru. It was President Clinton was present here, and Peru and Ecuador, the guarantor countries were Chile, Argentina, Brazil, and the United States. So it was a historic peace that was signed in Brasilia in 1998, and President Clinton was present. Of course, they were all present in the signing ceremony. But then when Jamil Mawad was president of Ecuador, they invited us. Of course, here I was ambassador already, and when we went to the Oval Office, and we went together with the time President Peru, who was Fujimori, Alberto Fujimori, and President Mawad and me were there with President Clinton. He said, I would like you to teach the Palestinians and Israelis how you made peace between Ecuador and Peru, because the land of dispute, it's similar. It's like saying Jerusalem, the dispute that they have. Here it was Tiwinsa. Of course, it's smaller, but the same. It's a symbolic place that Ecuador wanted it all, and Peru wanted it all. And we found a solution that was very creative, out of the box. And President Clinton wanted us to have him meet also, because Ehud Barak at that time was here with Yasser Arafat. They were doing the Camp David in 1998 or 99 or 98, I think it was, or 99. But so in the embassy of Ecuador, we had the meeting of Yasser Arafat. At that time, he was with Mahmoud Abbas as his assistant, or I don't know, the second, and now he is the one. But they were both, and of course, it was Ehud Barak that was here in Washington, and President Clinton, President Fujimori, and President Mawad. So it was really a unity of this, showing what Ecuador and Peru has done to do it the same. And so it was a very interesting meeting. So this is a good documentary, you're right.
So now we have a second book.
Yeah, we continue. We said that, remember?
Second part, yes. Second part, yeah.
Another question that comes to mind, like from your perspective, what's the #1 advice for a woman who would like to enter the world of politics?
Oh, do it. The world of politics is this is the #1 in need. I'll tell you why. They say, why? But to politics, why? The other places to know. To change a country, a society, a village, whatever, you need laws. You need to implement things so that they will be respected. And women have to be in positions of power. If you take now the pandemic, those countries that had women leaders, the pandemic didn't affect, or it was covered with very well done, whether it was at the beginning, the things that they needed in the hospitals, and then now the vaccines. So it is an obligation, as I said, an obligation for women to enter that. And it's not difficult. We always think, oh, it's a man's world. No, it's a man's and woman's world. And we are working together. We cannot be but working together to make this place a better place, which is a small world, interconnected. We are completely interconnected. Look where we are now. Ecuador, the Minister of Culture of Ecuador. You are the Minister of Culture in Qatar. We are here in the United States. Everyone is uniting from all over the world. We are interconnected in everything. A disease that came, a pandemic that came from China arrived to the world like this. If an economic crisis happens any place in the world, it affects us all. So this is why we need women, because why? The woman carries the baby, even if you don't have children, but you have the feminine part of the love. This love, unconditional love, it's what makes us against wars, against guns, against violence. You cannot see a child or an animal crying. I mean, I know they don't cry, but you feel them, that the pain. You cannot feel them in pain. So that's why we need women for that part. This is what they have. And men, they find solutions together better when a woman tells the man, this is the way to do it, and he says no, but then he does it. So we need to have both. And that's why I really encourage all of you to enter into politics.
Okay, so at the end, like, where can we find the book? Like, for the people who are listening or want to like take a copy of the book, where can they find it?
That's what I was asking. So please, Ibrahim, can you say somebody at the Ministry of Culture? I think they know, or
we can check it out with them, because some people asking me already about the English and the Spanish version, how to get it online, especially online.
Online. So what do you enter online? Just they put the name of the book, they enter online?
I don't know. So far, I shall check it out with the Ministry of Culture to see how to get it.
So please send us that. I would like to.
For the Arabic version, I think it's there for the Arabic version, but for English and the Spanish, we still need to know how to do it.
We'll update.
The Arabic version is already online,
yes.
But we have to have the same for the English and Spanish version. Yes. Okay, that's good. Because, you know, we have an event today at the embassy. Today is Earth Day. Mm-hmm. So it's about protecting the earth. And so we're having an opening exhibition of Ecuador. It's going to be the Ecuador week, like we did in Qatar. We did the Ecuador week. We're going to have it, and the inauguration is going to be at the embassy where we're now, from 6 to 8 at night. And it will be arts, music, photography, gastronomy afterwards at home, at the residence, and the signing of the book. And handcrafts from Ecuador, you know, the handcrafts that we had, so beautiful handcrafts. So we have a beautiful exhibition of handcrafts from Ecuador. And this is tonight. So I'm sure that people will ask where they can get the book, because I'm going to give them, but there are others they will not, they would like to know where. So if you can send me the link or something.
Would be great.
And we can also update our audience in terms of like where they can get the book. Yeah. It seems like that we came to the end of this event. And to conclude, time does fly in the company of such distinguished guests, and we have to end here. Thank you everyone for being here, and hope to see you all in other cultural activities. I have enjoyed my time with you guys, and I'm sure that the audience did too. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Sheikha. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.